Well, that worked. Uh, this is not gonna be a sobby thing, a sobby stream. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It's just my allergies are still like running rampant on me. So where's my comb go? There it is. So yeah, that's pretty much that. I didn't shower for a few days. I just kind of got lost in my head. Give myself time to actually not say too much. I joined a couple other people's hangouts just because it does get lonely when you're not talking to a lot of people. It's a lot better sometimes to talk to strangers about uh, stuff or tragedies over just like keep on getting to your friends and stuff like that. Sometimes it does help because you want to. For me, it's just like I wanted everybody's aspect on it, or multiple aspects, I should say. But times have already changed for better or for worse. Uh, Mentally, I feel like I'm there. Like I'm almost back to like whatever, however normal I'm gonna get. I just said I was like I started to get a lot more stern. Like, I'm not really taking anyone's BS anymore. Because you can kind of tell, like especially in situations like this, you can kind of tell who's fibbing, who's lying, and who's actually telling the truth. You know, or someone's just doing something nice just so they can take back twice as much, or to go, take back twice as much from you. It's really hard to tell, but kind of sit there and you watch how their emotions go, and like how if you're around them for long enough, they're like kind of like, oh, you know what, I see what's going on, and then just best thing to do is just, well, you know what, I appreciate the gesture, but I want my privacy, kind of thing. So, and that's how it's been for the past few days. Some people respected it completely, others uh, others did not because they wanted to treat themselves as if they're only ones affected when they weren't even remotely close to anyone who passes. So it's a little bit of dicey situation. So what I wanted to do is just take myself away from them and just watch stuff that made me happy, you know, because I felt I was getting frustrated with people when I probably shouldn't have, but disregarding. It's like one of those like rare situations. It's just like you want to tell your family, let me be selfish for a few days, and then let me get back on my feet. Just like with like, finishing a six or this, and like I kind of felt it, but like usually when I do stuff like that, my attitude changes. It's usually pretty much better. It's usually more calm, stuff like that. No, my mindset was just the same, and it was really strange because uh, the next day when I woke up, I was just like, holy shit, that's kind of how some people actually do, deal with depression, when they reach towards alcohol. It's just like they keep on going. Probably not to the extent that I was doing. And that's probably why I ended up stopping myself. It's like, oh shit, that's probably like how uh, some people turn into like raging alcoholics, because like they keep drinking and thinking that you're gonna find an answer, but it's not there. It doesn't have the same too. So I mean, that's just how it was for me. And thank God. A lot of people in my family thought I was gonna become like that, but it's just not there. I'm a little bit smarter than that. Perhaps not by much, but I'm a little bit smarter than that. For people who work and stuff like that, I know like this is a weird time to do this. Uh, as a future reference, I think a lot of people put this together. Most of the people who are around here, who are around my community, they work 9 to 5s. My 9 to 5s are not 9 to 5s because that's how restaurants are. You know, ours are just like a little bit more sporadic. So that's the best time for me to do something like this, especially when it's on my day off, uh, just to hang out. And then that way, people who want to stay closer, stay up to date with what's going on, they can watch it later on. Like, oh, he said he posted something, and I get comments and stuff like that uh, from Walter Scott and Lee mostly. So and Dr. Smith X. So I mean, that's just how it works out. My live streams are not like hangouts unless if I do it late at night. So plus I need an actual setup instead of just using my phone. I do have the remainder of my stuff I bought. It's cheap stuff. Um, with the exception of this one, which is still reserved. And I'm gonna go through it, the rest of it today, and then after that, back to work. But it's gonna be tough because of again my allergies, but that's okay. I had to foam up so much. I thought I poured it right. Look at this. Oops. Because it's cheap, it's not gonna be like that for too long, but it's too gross. I did give a call back to a child that wanted to do a demo run with me, but it was too soon, like close to like the news. So I gave her a call back today. Just left her a voicemail. I let her know like the day of, like a couple hours before. I'm like, hey, so I didn't go into detail. I just like, hey, we had a death in the family, and we're kind of grieving right now. So I don't think it'd be fair for me to do that today. If you want to reschedule, that'd be great. I don't really know her response to that, but it's just like it is what it is, man. It's like if I did something like that at the state of mind that I was in, it would have been very awkward. But now I'm at the point to where it's like if I go to work, I don't feel like I have to tell anybody what's going on, except for the owner. Be like, okay, so I just need this day off and this day off, and then after that, as far as I know, smooth sailing. Which I want to know. I don't know exactly what days those are. That's going to be off, but we haven't figured that part out yet. That is actually left to my aunt, who is taking her time uh, recovering from what happened, which is totally fine by me. She knows what she needs to do. I'd rather her clear her head and make sure she does everything correctly before, or much rather than goof up, I guess. This is not really going down that well. Normally, I'm pretty ecstatic about this, but come on now. I don't want a mouthful of foam, you know? I also don't want to stare at it for too long. Let's I found some peace in solace already. One of the comments I got was find peace. And pretty much what it did, I watched whatever, like whatever came to mind, whatever reminded me of the past and stuff like that. And whatever made me happy. Skipped out on the consumption. But you know, and that's what really made things better, you know. And then I also understand that once the funeral comes, it's going to be harsh again for that day. But I think I've accepted it. So there's that. Oh, you can see like I don't know how to describe it. My nose is like hella red, but nothing else is, which is, from what I understand, it's a good sign to get used to allergies. Either that or they're starting to go away and it's just going to be hot, which I can't. I don't really like the heat right now, but all right. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. Uh, this is interesting because like I'm not used to having a clogged nose and having to do one of these. So now it's like it's a little bit of a different mindset, I guess, but it's more like a different preparation. Just because now I had to make sure it's like cleared up for the next 5-7 seconds at least, or something like that. Yeah. Salute. Whew. That's it for like next 10 minutes, huh? 8%. I did a joke. That's why I got these chips. Kind of sell down the taste bud because that's what's bothered me the most, and then it's like stomach. So now my eyes are teary up because of that. Because it's gross. Not even cold. But for me, for you enthusiasts out there, most of them chugging down. It's better when you do it like room temp. Obviously not hot, but seeing that's like 75, a good 75 degrees right now. I could probably put it down by like 5 degrees if I had what I need to get. Um, for when I finally start upgrading, which I'll get to that in a second because Because there's legal work that has to be done, which that's a hassle, but it's a beneficiary hassle. So, um, so I want to get one of those. I think they're technically wine coolers because they're fridges that don't go below like 60 degrees. That's kind of how I like my beer. I don't like my beer below 40 most of the time, just because like it gets too cold and stuff like that. And that's not really why I drink it. I drink it for more tasting of interest. I do like my soda cold, just because it's just sugar water. We all know that, but I'm starting to sound like a beer snob. But anyway, yeah, I do want to get one of those. So I don't know how much it's going to be, and this is something I probably shouldn't share. Um, there's a settlement that's coming my way, but I think that's like how most families end up getting, because my he had a decent amount to his name. So, and on top of that, he did work for a union, so it was like a life insurance kind of policy thing, to where his kids, myself included, would get some some sort of some amount. I don't know the number. Um, I don't really need to. I do know it's going to be enough to put down on my own roof, or my own four walls. I should probably say roof and four walls. And I know that's what he would want me to do, because he not you got to get the fundamentals, you know, to function first, and like you have to have your own nest. And there were times that he himself, like he just lived in a car, or like a trailer or something like that. Which is, if you have like a really nice RV, it's not a bad way to live. I've been inside like really nice RVs. They're around like 30K, 60K. They are homes, you know. Um, in fact, most of those ones I've seen in California, they are better homes than a lot that I've been into. This one technically included, but like, and also better ones that I've seen like across the U.S. When I look up, uh, not look up, but like look into like videos of people who are have their house on foreclosure, and you just look at them, and then I know it's like it's not fair, because it's not, most of those houses are not picked up and they're not taken care of. But I compare to living into those old fashioned homes, at least those nicer RVs, that's the way to go. I mean, that, and they're a lot cheaper than houses out here, anyways. I mean, unless if you have a few $1 million in your bank account, then you wouldn't want to invest into a house in California. Uh, I think a good solid house that you won't have to do that much work on in California would probably be around $1 million. And then you need the extra 2 million in your pocket, so you make sure that house stays afloat. And then, depending on who you know, and depending on who's invited, you can have to be a little bit careful about who you have over, because like, especially if you have someone that's like less fortunate, like stay over, you gotta be a little careful about that, because um, you know, I've done it before, but that was like with my really close friend, and he understood that he knew I was like trying to work and stuff like that. That was the place I was at last. So you have to be a little bit more careful about that, because he's had people that stayed at his house for less than a month before he kicked them out, because they're just like, oh, this is my new house, and he's just like, no, this is my house. You don't invite people over here, and they would do that, and he was just like, no, I have to know the person before you invite people. And he dealt with a lot of big mess. And with me, it was just more like, he was just like, okay, Rob, don't want to make you move, but because you're you, kind of have to. And that's it, Rob. But that's my real name, and that's just because like he wants me to be on my own because he knows that I mean well, and he knows that I deserve better than just to not have my own place. If that makes sense. Uh, so that's how that ended, and I ended it a couple months prior to what he was thinking. Because I was just like, I think what I need to do is just force myself out, and then put myself into a much less living condition. Because I don't think I'll ever own a house like that. I don't. I'm not fortunate. Uh, there's ways I can think about that. Excuse me. There's ways I can think about to maybe get up to that rich because I've done some research in the stock market, but knowing that the stock market's fucking wild right now. So it's not like how I used to have this. Well, I still have this one friend, but I have this one friend that his dad he worked at a Costco and he was saving up money and he was paying for an apartment. But this is a long time ago to where in California you can still do that. And he would read books and about strategies in the stock market at the time, and he got wealthy off of that. The only issue with him is that, like on paper, he didn't really make shit, but he was just like, yeah, but I can buy this now at full price, and I don't have to worry about that. I was like, if you're looking to sell a home and someone offers you like full price for that home, you take it. You take it and go. That means that you lucked out because you don't have anything to worry about. The house is off your hands, and you're just like, there it is. Even if there is interest, most of the time people go on foreclosure and their banks run dry. So nice closet, Ken. Oh yeah, you like that? You like that fucking mess? That closet is a storage for not me. It's for my little brother and my mom. I don't use it at all. It's funny because they have so much shit, and I really mean shit. Uh, some knickknacks here and there, but me, I just have that belong to me in this room is literally the computer desk that's my computer's on. The computer, obviously, my phone, and my tablet. That's it. Like that's really it. And then when I moved into this room, I made sure that I was taking up as little space as possible. Oh, then I had my cards now, and that's because I bought those at a later time. But uh, yeah, it's if you could see a closet, there's a jacket hanging up right there. It's a rough one, man. I don't think you were around uh, when I mentioned this, but I'm close to over it now, so I can say it. Uh, Unfortunately, last week my father passed away, so it's kind of everything like within my family is kind of like a rough shot. Uh, and some people believe it or not, I had my couple moments to where I needed to go for a walk for like 20 minutes, but most are not taking it so well because I don't know. I lived around my dad for the past. It's okay. It's all right. I lived around my father for the past few years, um, and I know what kind of lifestyle he lived, and we did our best to push him away from that. So he eventually did, and then you know, just complications in his body came up to where he was not treating it too well. His blood got too thick, and then what happened is that he had artery issues, so he had a blood clot, which resulted into a heart attack. So uh, Doctors were easily able to point it out. He didn't die alone. You know, he was with family, and you know, probably in his situation, it's probably the best way for him to go because you know, when you live a lifestyle like his, the worst thing you can do is pass away. So he did do that. He went out a good man. So it's all good, man. It's all good. I just the only thing I'm worrying about right now is what my little brother's doing. So my little brother and his girlfriend stayed here for uh stayed here for a few nights, and I swear to God that's allergies. I'm not. Don't worry about that. But stayed there for a few nights. I spent around $150 on groceries when they came by or when we got them because I was like, you know what, they, you know, because the again, you know, the homeless life that they chose to live, it's a rough one. So I was like, so the least they need to do is have some decent food. And between those two and my mom and me, it was definitely mostly them because I already bought my secret stash of snacks and stuff like that, uh, which I went off the most because I was drinking. Took them about 2 to 3 days to go through a little over $100 for the groceries. And I was just like, what the fuck? You know, at first I was just like, you guys are eating too much, but then I had to stop, you know, because again, they need to eat well. They probably haven't eaten that well in a very long time. And even then I was just like, all right, so I'm gonna go buy some pizzas. I love whether likes pizza. Uh, so I went to go buy some pizzas, left them on the counter, about two, maybe had 3 or 4 slices out of them. They just gobbled it up. I'm like, you know what? It's fine at this point because who knows with them. I don't know personally, like they would have to tell me themselves. I don't know if they want to go back out to where the way that they were living before, at least for now. I don't know because the thing about being homeless and not necessarily being dumb is that if you do it for long enough, it gets comfortable. Like it's just a comfortable thing. So I don't know if that's what their motive was. I don't think that it was mentioned. Uh, it's been this is day 3, and they were supposed to be back 2 days ago. But I can't control what they do personally. So again, it's one of those things that I could take solace in saying that you know what, at least I fed them, make sure they're well fed for at least a few days, and now they probably re-energized, and then they could just do whatever. I guess that's all I'm looking out for. You know, I'm a cook, so of course it makes me happy that they ate all that food. Like half of it I made for them, so it's like yeah, this is therapeutic for me too. So go ahead, eat up. Never cooked 5 pounds of chicken breast for tacos and watched tacos go away that quickly. I was like, oh Jesus. That was cool to see. The chicken was relatively cheap anyway. And then we also have some but main priority is my mom. So my younger brother, his girlfriend, they can do whatever they want. But the only thing is that they didn't leave their dog here. It's a little small dog, untrained. Well, it is trained, but he's only 4 months old, and like he doesn't bark or anything like that. He doesn't snap at anybody. He was very well mannered. I won't say trained, but does listen to his name and stuff like that. And uh, just not potty trained. That's all. I mean, my mom's already had enough of the dog. But if she gets that fed up, I'll probably just what I'll do is keep the dog in my room so she doesn't have to deal with it. I think that probably would be wise, like worst case scenario. Or little brother and his girlfriend comes back, or they say, hey, you know what, we want to go back out and take responsibility and take the dog with them. Which that ladder is kind of what I'm expecting. Only because from what I understand, this is nothing to do with their lifestyle or anything like that. Maybe a tiny, tiny bit, but it's only to the point to where the human mind doesn't want to be uncomfortable through the pain of loss. And if them feeling like they're confided within a house, makes them feel uncomfortable, I would get that. I wouldn't want that personally. I just wish that they would get, kick themselves out of that habit, but I would understand. So I wouldn't argue it. If that makes sense. My mom would, but that's one. That's something for later. Like I said, right now, just make sure I eat well enough, take care of me, and then I'll be that. Because where my mind personally is at when I look in the mirror, like talking about staying strong for my family, it's just like I gotta get back out to work again. And I know it's only been a week. I know some people take a lot longer than that, but my dad would not want that. Uh, he would probably say around a week, maybe 2 tops. Do whatever you need to do, but get back out there, And he would just say, "Do what makes you happy." That's it. He'll just keep it simple. He was not a simple guy, but he kept things simple because that's the best way to keep a smile. He was a little bit dramatic, but so am I. This is kind of where we. That's kind of where we match and also butt heads, because he respected the hell out of me, but it was the same mutual respect. But if I caught him slipping, if he wasn't doing something he was supposed to do, and if I called him out on it, he'll get defensive, and then I'll just be like, you know what, all right, whatever, man. Unless if I was drunk, then I'd fight back and say, you need to do this. You said you're going to do it. You got to do it. And then he'd get defensive because more often than not, he'd be twisted in his own mind too. But when he was straight, you can tell him these things and he would agree. So I said when he wanted his own time to fuck off, he would be defensive about that. And with my hotel adventures back then, yeah, I fucking I can't necessarily sit there and argue with it because I was the same way. Sometimes I feel like I want to be the same way, but honestly, it's a lot healthier to stay around family and just like moderate myself. Like, okay, you've had this much. This is enough. Like, the amount of alcohol I have right now is enough. So, as opposed to looking at it and like, well, if I can take it back into my mind, sometimes like when I'm on one of those benches, I'll look at a decent amount to where if someone has this, like a 6-pack or something like that. Like usually a 6-pack is enough for somebody for a day, right? So when I was on my videos, I looked at that amount and I was just like, no, I need more, something different too, you know? And then my mind would just wander, like, what do I want though? What do I want though, you know? So I ended up going to the store, and because I'm already at the store, I gotta buy something. And then I would. And then if I'm in the 8 times, maybe 7 times out of 10, when I'm in a reasonable mood, I would I would pick up some snacks along the way too. Or, get something to pick up something to eat, take it back, and then, you know, it'd be that. It'd be like that. Throwing on the TV, get on here, shoot the shit. One thing that does get to me too is that some people are just like, uh, why you gotta spill whatever you got going on your, on your YouTube. Why do you gotta do that? Why don't you just I don't know not? I'm like, well, a lot of people go out to bars around people who they don't know, say they see these same things, and those people don't need to know. You know, like they're already at a bar. Their life is technically doing okay, but they already feel like shit. Especially if it's like in midday. Like they don't care to hear anybody. But they're close friends who frequent that bar because they have money to spend, but they don't have the patience to listen to a stranger's story most of the time. Sometimes they're there for that, but uh, my experience, no. But the only exception is when I worked at the Red Caboose, when everybody actually already knew me and wanted to have a drink with me because I'm cool. Not necessarily the reason, but it's because I worked at the bar. I was a bar back, but they wanted to hang out with the bar back too. But like, oh, he's so nice. He's such a nice guy. I want to hang out with him. Oh, he's a cool dude. I want to hang out with him. He seems smart, so I can talk to my ideas to him. It was a fun time in my life. I'm not gonna lie. Very stressful though, because my boss was such a hard ass, and I wasn't equipped enough at that time to how I am right now to listen. It was more of me like being kind of like more of a degenerate area and be like, just so tired of her. Why doesn't she shut up? I remember this one night. Um, we were busy. It was the night before Valentine's Day, and Valentine's Day was big because I believe it landed on a Sunday, and Sunday we did brunch and stuff like that. And normally at that time, it was not my job. In fact, I had never done it before to replenish the tea that they had because they made tea by hand, and I got yelled at for that. I'm like, I said her name was Sheila. I was like, Sheila, I don't know how to make that tea. I didn't even know it was out. No one told me. And I just got fed up at that point. I'm like, how come none of the servers told you or told me? Because I wasn't told. And she's like, it's your responsibility to make sure that's done. I'm like, I'm not a prep cook for their tea. I could tell the cooks because I'm a prep cook for everything that's back here to know, but the tea, that's not on me. I don't know when that runs out. It's the servers that know when that runs out. We don't touch that shit. Didn't say it like that. Don't cuss at her. But that's what I said, and she just like looked at me, got frustrated, like, oh. And I understood because she was stressed out and she wanted someone to blame, and usually she would blame the busboy, like she was synonymous for that. And I was warned before getting hired, but uh, But and, like, there was a couple times where her and I just like it wasn't me like raising my voice, but I would like talk back a bit. I'm like, well, I don't know which key it is, or we talked about the key for the men's bathroom. Like, I don't know what key it is because I've never had to lock the men's bathroom before. I don't know why it's locked. You guys never told me to do that. I don't know which key it is. Well, you should know. I'm like, okay, you're the owner. Show me what key it is. I don't know what key it is. Ask your husband. He's not here right now. Okay, well, um, got to figure something out. Just keep trying different keys and see which one unlocks it, I guess. Turned out that she had it the whole time. And I'm just like, come on. Like, she killed me over here. But overall, a decent lady. Just a high temper. You don't get in the way with her. All right. Ready for round two, I suppose. I've only snacked on Doritos for so long. These Doritos are, no, they're all right. They're all right. So the way I'm thinking right now is that I'm gonna go back to thinking about whatever settlement I get. I don't think moving into apartments the right thing to do. I think I need to buy something that I can own, which is again, if my dad knew I wanted to do this, it'd be a houseboat. So that way, if shit went awry with anybody that's in my family, they would have a place to go or an option, I should say. So that'd be the only logical thing I can think of. Although my mom doesn't want me to have a houseboat because she knows I drink. So she'd be like, well, what if you get too drunk and jump off the boat? And I'm just like, no, that will not happen. You think I like being outside? I drink pot, no. Or at least when I'm drunk. No, I don't. I can see myself like for the first couple, like standing on the raft or something like that, having my first couple drinks and holding my phone, and then my safe zone is inside of my computer. So that's the best I would be able to do for myself. Which I haven't turned this on in quite some time. I need to buy a new keyboard. All right. The red future. I'm already eyeing the chip that I want to eat after getting this down. A little seasoning on it. At least from what I can see anyway. I have some chips on a small plate because I'm bougie. It's a weird combination, but it kind of works. I don't see myself doing that one again. Last time I did that was with the Cool Ranch. This is nacho cheese. Cool Ranch because it's a lot more, there's a little more spice to it. It makes sense because it's kind of like distracts your esophagus. Nacho cheese is just make sure you're not going back to back to back. Michael Burrows, hey yeah, how you doing? How you doing? Hanging in there, man. There's checking all this medicine I have for my fucking allergies. So I have this. This is called Equate. Equate. So this is a kind of a knockoff brand of the other one I have. What's it called? I forget. I have the knockoff brand and the main brand. I haven't used this stuff yet. Got some nasal spray. It scares the crap out of me because I don't like anything up my nose. But I'm probably gonna have to use it at some point or another. And this stuff is just kind of gross. It's just the chest rub stuff. I have not been working today. I really enjoy what I do. Question mark? What do you mean? Like, what should you do on your day off? Or are you not just not enjoying your job? Interesting. So, if you enjoy what you do, but if you're not enjoying where you're working at, it kind of depends. You know, us cooks kind of live like rock stars. So we can tell people or tell employers like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I'm just going to go away. Uh, you work at men's fashion and men's shoes and socks. You do. Okay. So you're a, what was it called? You're a tailor. Yeah, there you go. Think tailor, right? So if you have the day off, but if you're a tailor, if you're working with customers, I would um, probably go through a decent amount of stress, I would guess. I've never worked with clothes before. But I also understand, like, depending on where you work. See, I live in California. So, and if you look at me, what kind of socks am I wearing? Oh, I wear, right now I'm not wearing any socks because it's a decent temperature, but usually I wear these, not really tough winter socks. Here, let me show you. It's like, I think it's like basic, uh, winter socks. Oh, no. Yes. This is okay. Oh, these are not basic. These are regular. Regular. So these are the socks I wear. Typically. And the reason being is because uh, I think it's like more of a mind trick these days because it is what it is. But back when I worked grocery, um, I worked the frozen section for about 5 months, and my shoes had. I'm not putting socks on. That's crazy. Uh, it's 75 right now. I'm totally fine. But I used to, like I said, I used to work frozen, and so whenever my feet feel cold at night, it's kind of like almost like a frostbite feeling. What's going on? Oh, this building is strange. So I used to, so like whenever my feet get cold at night, I have to put socks on. Like I'll never go to bed without socks. Because I went through frostbite, so like my feet easily get cold. Okay, no, you're being weird. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm gonna block you. Put you in timeout, I guess. That's weird. Alright. You get one of my mods to block him. But my mod's not here anymore. That's weird. I'm not interested in your feet fetish. Yeah, whoever just joined up, block his ass. Michael Burrows. That's just weird. There's sites for stuff like that, my dog. Like, no. I'm into that predatory shit. I'm good at some YouTuber's channel and I'm not even a YouTuber really. I'm gonna go to his channel and see if he can put some socks on. I want to watch. God, you fucking creep. I believe in advocating for the people in general, but Jesus Christ. Like, I believe creeps come in both genders. And, you know, whatever sex that or orientation they prefer, she, them, they. That's all fine and dandy too, but like, I go off by two genders unless someone tells me that no, I'm by them, and I'll just say I'm sorry, regardless of what they describe themselves as. That's fucking creepy. You know, if you have some fetish, go to a site. I don't even have to mention what kind of site. Just go over there and watch people who actually want to do that stuff. Do that stuff. No, don't come on somewhere that anyone can view. You know, and go with that. No, that's stop. So anyway, in efforts to keep myself distracted from that fucking weird event, it's weird when I hear like kind of like banging and stuff that goes on around this complex because this building's kind of old. It holds up tremendously, but the echo is you can feel it. you could feel it, you could hear it, and all it could be is someone else, like your neighbors walking into their place. You can feel it and shut the door. So it's weird because it's just like, what the hell is going on? Like the neighbor that's across the wall from this room. The other day, I heard it like slight banging sound, and it made sense in my head. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then later, I found out they were just hanging up a poster. I'm like, oh, well, I'll be damned. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, no more of that talk. Either you're either gonna get banned from my channel, or if I'm spilling spicy enough, I'll report it to YouTube, and you can just lose that channel and create. And then you'd probably end up just creating like a new email and do something else. But and again, a big statement with that. Nope. Wish you well, bud. But no view for you. Do I give off that vibe? I just want to do whatever. Do like a little bit of shrug and jive, maybe show off chest hair or something like that, like this. Like I'm down to do that. Do I look like someone who may have an OnlyFans? Well, maybe. But bottom line is no. Like that would make me uncomfortable. I also know quite a few people in person who are a lot more attractive, in my opinion, because they're girls than I am, who have OnlyFans, and I'm just like, well, it's just not for me. But you know, unless if I end up starting it and making thousands of dollars per month or something like that, I'm like, oh well, I guess I am. Then maybe it might be for me. I don't know, but no. My internet stuff, the gaming is where I'm at. I like playing video games. I like the wholesome stuff. Am I a bit of a pervert? I am. I kind of keep it to myself, and when I don't, I keep it civilized. Like as soon as someone tells me to stop, stop. Which is, I'll be honest, it's very rare. But it's also because the banter is also very rare. So, uh, yeah, yeah, weird. I don't even work out anymore, so it's that's strange to me. I do like my long hair. I do like having it down, but it's like, okay, that's more of like a mentality thing than it is a look thing these days. I remember I used to have, well, they're still a lot shorter. So, okay, now I'm getting a little weird, but fuck it. So the top of my hair, because I have my dangerous receiving hairline, top of my hair is the longest. Let's see here. Let me see. I'll just brush it down. Top of my hair is the longest right here by length. And I had it intended to keep it that way. Because, receding hairline, it goes down to here now, like almost to my neck. Like, top of my head is as long and it reaches the same length as the bottom of my neck. And for quite some time, I did it like that. And I still do whenever I get a haircut. I keep it like that so I can grow the hair long again, despite the receding hairline. It is what it is. Because what I do have, it's in pretty decent condition, in my opinion. So The only thing is if I get sweaty, then it becomes a mess because it's thin. So I don't know if I have to resort to like some sort of like hair product or something like that. I don't use anything. I don't use anything like that'd be like out there aside from shampoo and conditioner. I think even just today I just shampooed it, or just today I should say. I don't do anything too outlandish. But I also know that there's like hair products that are like, oh well, if you want to do this, you can do this. If you want to repair your hairline, you can do this. Which I'll be honest, I don't. I'd rather just, which is kind of a weird subject. I'd rather just let it go naturally and just do like the sort of like old school, just like rebuild it if I can, or make sure everything else is strong enough to make it hold. Uh, right now it looks all right. I mean, it's a little bit like weird on this side, but overall, it is what it is. It's just I understand that a lot of people prefer, and I've seen it, and I understand it. A lot of people prefer me just go like a little short buzz cut. It's just not me. Like I can't tolerate it. Like I need something to fidget with. Not like a girly fidget thing where they like flick the hair or anything like that. But like if I'm in deep thought and I'm focusing on something, it helps to do this to myself because it helps me think. You know, if I did it with a bald head, like yeah, of course you feel like the frizzies and stuff like that, but that's just not how my mind operates. If that makes sense, especially if I'm playing like League or something like that. And if I'm a little bit frustrated, I'll just go like this. Like, okay, what do I gotta do? And I get something to like run my fingers through a little bit. Sort of in a weird way, it's caressing yourself, but like a that sounds weird, but it's also like a humble way, like a very wholesome way to. And look, it's all right. These things happen. Or if I go like this, then I just pitch the back and like, sorry, sorry, think. You know, so like I go to bed and just go like this constantly. Need to be pet or something like that. But when I come to serious thought, say if I'm doing a test or if I'm just watching a video that I have to watch, say if it's like for work or something like that, I just go like this, run it through my head, and just be like, just end. So that's the thought process of that. See that? See, that's from that side there. There will be times when I'm listening with my tablet, and my tablet will fall through the crack of my quote unquote bed. It's not really bad. It's bullshit compared to what I used to have, or what I still have, but I can't. I'm waiting until I actually move to bring that to wherever I go. Uh, so I just falls through the crack and my tablet will hit the floor. I'm just like, oh god, neighbors heard that. I get really anxious about that because it's like, what if they have something going on their end? It's like, damn it. So we try to avoid that. Don't fuck with. Love thy neighbor is the best way to say it. Love thy neighbor. Yeah, there we go. So, all right, had two of these. BGA or BG, I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate that. Still two of those, and then I have one of the this one. I don't know how I should even it out. If I should just go for, or even really just like having anymore, you know? Should I? Should I? Nah, I'm gonna finish it all. Um, and that's just for the sake of me not having any more to access after a while. So just so that, yeah, yeah, that's definitely not gonna happen. Now, I'm gonna go through the rest of it. So I think I'm just gonna stick with what I know in my palette right now and try not to confuse it. Or do I want to go something that's that much higher and then get it out of the way? Yeah, well, let's do that. I'll be right back. I gotta rinse this up. Whatever. I want to get my wiring up, got this cup. Now two more. Just getting in a four bag. Just don't know where they are. Whatever. Technically, so to let these dry out, I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna need some music for this one because this one's a rough one. So I'm gonna put my earbuds on too. I don't want to disrupt. So what I'm going to do is because I don't have internet access aside from my cell phone where I'm at. So turn on the hotspot. Turn on the hotspot. There we are. Oh, fuck. Nah. I got free for this one. Actually, gotta put the thing away from the mic right here. But this song's perfect. I haven't heard this song before. Mutilation on a Saturday night. It sounds like pretty mellow, but if you read the lyrics, it's comedy. Yeah, it's pretty. Now I know what the song's about. It's pretty much just like a metal frat party. Like one of the lyrics I read, it's like, we're going to value the old zip code by destroying your land. Kind of insult, but we're going to come to your house, get drunk, and fuck with your thermostat. How about that? Much. That's gonna make me gassy too, but considering comparing to the volume and the taste, can't say I'm scared about it. It's easier to take down than that bloody ass silly too. I'll tell you what. So no matter how cold this gets, you're gonna taste the same bullshit. If this was at a good 60, for me personally, I can see myself sipping on that on a night off. We're playing like perhaps like Skyrim or something like that. So now it's taking me back. I don't think I could play League or stuff like that. Because League's more competitive. But Skyrim, when you're just chilling, something along those lines. What was it now? Something along those lines. That's perfect because it gets you even like out of the 12 ounces, maybe like two, maybe three for like pullback on it. To where it takes you like 4 times to finish the glass. I know what I'm talking about when I say these things too, because I used to drink stuff like that a lot. And now it's like rarely because uh, most beers that are in that that are made that are in that high quality of or high continent or high that wow damn and that high of ABV that are made these days. And I think I want to say like 3 years prior to that too. Have not touched that shit. Like that is good for what it is. It's meant to be enjoyed as like kind of like a if you like hops, if you like a lot of hops, that's meant to be enjoyed pretty chilled, you know, in a decent glass. This is a decent glass, but I'll be honest with you, it's not the proper one, but it's a lot better than just having like some sort of pint glass or something like that because at least it serves its purpose. Like it's very thick. It helps. No, that's served in a tulip or a sovereign, which I've never said those words in quite some time. And that's kind of what you want in your beer because you drink the regular stuff like it goes down kind of like water, you know. Like your Coors Light, your Budweiser. Me personally, I like those as if I was going to enjoy like a glass of wine. And and this is me after, of course, saying go through as much as I did for the past however many. But um, I've never gotten so like hyped up for a beer as much as I did for that one. I thought it was great, and I pushed myself a little bit too fast at one point. I had to clean it up, but Yeah, overall, when you do your research too, I just want to throw this one out there. If you are kind of like the kind of guy that wants to, or girl, that wants to go to a station at a point in their life that just has to have, they just want to have one a night, right? And bear with me on this one because a lot of you guys don't do that. Go and just have like one a night and like kick back. And imagine like you having like a nice chair, nice computer chair, or a nice lazy boy chair, or whatever, someplace really nice to sit. Great, like a pretty comfortable area to sit at the very least, and either watch something or play your favorite video game or something like that. That is perfect. If you can stick to one, maybe two. Um, if you have an addictive personality like I do, maybe not, but it also depends, like how you can prioritize. If you prioritize your game before your alcohol, uh, that's just fine to me. But if you're trying to keep yourself busy while essentially can get drunk, I want to recommend it because 11% hits. I mean, it really hits compared to like a 7 or an 8. That'll send you on a loopy. Um, yeah. So I would highly recommend that one for people who like West Coast IPAs. If you're like me and you're tired with the hazy beers, keep it on pumping out. Uh, and I live by that. By the way, I was happy when hazy beers came out. I thought they were cool. I thought they were unique. I just don't like how much it was pushed because all the hazy beers that came out are relatively the same, and they're very gassy. Like they leave you like bloated. So because it's high in calorie, and the problem with that is that when people who essentially they want to catch their buzz, like yeah, it's easy to catch your buzz off of hazy IPA, but if you're responsible, you want to eat, but hazy beers don't leave enough room in your stomach to eat a decent meal to accommodate for how much you're drinking. So because they're so thick, they're they're high in calorie, you're already full. Like for me, I'm not quite full yet. I'm just feeling the effects. I'm letting that sit because I know better as of now. So uh, yeah, that'll rock your socks off. But also at the same time, it's that something you want to sip on a like say it's like a for me, I would say like a fall winter's night is when I would probably have that. In fact, that beer, because of how high in calorie it is, or not high in calorie, high in alcohol content, if one cellar it like a wine, you can do that. If you want to keep it in a cool, dark area, if you have that, you can do that. And the normal rule of, oh, Jesus, where's my, there we go. Pardon me. If you have an area to do it, it doesn't have to be a big area. It doesn't even have to be in a refrigerator. Just be like maybe a closet or something like that. You could technically sell it because it's such a high alcohol content. It would not mess with the hops too much. It would just sit and wait. Like it will get more malty, but it won't mess with what the beer is supposed to do. It'll just make it taste a little different, and that's it. As opposed to something that's like ooh, a 6 or a 7. or maybe even an 8. Uh, After 3 months, they're pretty much what the beer is supposed to be made to be. It's essentially it's gone. So as opposed to this, it'll just bring out different malts that they had to use to incorporate the malt with the sugars and the grain to make the alcohol content. The hops will fade, but it'll turn into something different, but not bad. In fact, if you're into like more sweeter stuff and want to have a crack at this, I would recommend like probably age it in for about like 6 months. I think it's been a very long time since I've aged anything aside from myself. But yeah, I mean, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to have you fresh. Um, Hopefully, maybe I'll have some sort of time to like test out different stuff that's like in that ballpark to cellar and stuff like that. I think that'd be a great way for me to uh, have a hobby and go based off of that, and then work with it. But overall, yeah, that's phenomenal. And I also get that I also had still reserved before that one, but give me a break. Give me a break. I want to look at the lyrics of that song because when I found it on YouTube, it was on a recommended playlist because I love Deathclock. I want to see all the lyrics actually. Refuse your coasters. Okay, that's one of them. That's not the whole thing. Let's see if I can copy the. No, not all the page. No, no, no. Stop. Oh,
Looking at an alley set. Do you think we have to just back?
Is 260 and 50 on still activated.
Is that copy? Oh, there we go. Copy. Go back. Put that. So drip more. Let's put that. Paste. Lyrics. Ah, there it is. Found it. And now we're driving like the devil in mailbox baseball with sledgehammers, setting fire to a dumpster, spraying painting bullshit with bad grammar. Yeah, that sounds about right. It just sounds like a lyric, like a really good like lyricist decided to act and pretend that he's a degenerate and then wrote this stuff. Sorry about your dwarf, fix it, motherfucker. We'll interrupt you every time we try to make a joke and we refuse the coasters. watch us now as we track mud on your floor. Well, but it kind of like gets me because when I was 22, 23, most of the band members of the essential bands that I was either with or supporting by unloading their truck, uh, essentially they kind of had that mentality. They're a little bit more respectable, but like at the same time, we understood by saying fuck it to a lot of stuff. But I could take it back now, and like I gave them if we listened to the song like back then, um, if they listen to it and read the lyrics, they'd be like, yeah, that kind of was us, but we knew a lot more people who would actually do this kind of shit. So we're fucking with the thermostat, we're turning on the hose, we drink on empty stomachs, and that's just about time for this volcano to blow, which is throwing up. Fuck yeah, all right, destroy the night. Abomination on Saturday night. There is no invitation, but we stay forever. We bring forth peace, dimension tunnels, fuck up your landscaping, breaking all your almost like who thinks of this shit? Fucked up the asphalt on your road. We have devalued your whole zip code. We conjured witches, banshees screaming, ate all your food, summoned demons. Fuck yeah, good night. Really? That's funny as shit. That is funny. Gonna summon all these demons just to eat all your food and then say goodnight and then we leave. After destroying your zip code and developing your home. Fuck you. So evil. I'll be right back. I gotta pee. Whoa. Cool. That's my eyes deceived me. It's on 3 and a 2. I got 2 of these left, which I'm gonna take my time on. Just hang out a little bit more. And I think we're gonna do is gonna play some. I'm gonna go on Twitch, I think. No. I am gonna play some video games though. Eventually. It's just me trying to like map out how I'm gonna spend the rest of my day today. I think after this I'll just get on the phone with my mom. Let's see what she wants me to defrost and cook tonight. I think it's going to be the pork one. But gotta make sure. Ay, 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 ay. This next, there's still a tiny bit of the IPA in there, which I think will probably help anyway. Just to have it ready. You know. Go back to the foot fetish guy who got timed out and banned. Oh, thank you for whoever banned Michael Burrows. But I do wear these kind of socks. Just to bring out a thing. These are winter socks. I wear them throughout the year. I do have ankle socks still, but whenever it gets cold at night, I have all these always like at the back of my sleeve, whatever. Not actually in my sleeve, but you know what I mean. Like I always have them ready to go because I end up getting frostbite in my feet. And those help tremendously. Like it kind of ignores it. Like the rest of my body right now is probably around like 7 degrees. My feet feel more like they're at 65. I kind of like it right now because it's been getting hot. So my feet are always going to feel the coldest. I think it has something to do with my brain going through that. Then it does actually. When I look at them, I can see that they're calloused, but I don't really see much else. You know, so like I don't feel like it hurts. I just feel like they're a little cold. And it's just in the bottom, it's not even on the top. So the eyesight, I think it helps more. And that happened years ago. So I count it as a blessing. My only worry is that if I do buy that boat, then I might have to resort to other means, maybe just like double sock it up or something like that. Because when you live on a boat, thing is at night, no matter what time of year it is, it gets cold. Especially during the winter though. It gets very, very cold. No matter where you're at. So you have to have some good heating insulation to accommodate for that. And you have to understand, your PG&E bill is going to be up there if you don't like the cold. So, and that's even if you're trying to keep it around like a 70, then yeah, it's going to be up there. Your PG&E, instead of like being like the really like 75 degree or $75 a month, California is probably going to be around like 150 to 200. If you keep it running and keep yourself comfortable, which is going to be for the best. But yeah, I mean, it's like, but at the same time, it's like the rent that you're paying for, it kind of makes up for it because you're still making under, or you're still paying for under, no matter what job you have, you're still paying under like 2 times your monthly income anyway. So fuck it, you know what I mean? Fuck it. Even if you want to pay for like a brand new car or something like that, you still have, I don't know, $800 to eat on. So, but you don't eat that much, depending on who you are. And my opinion would be, if you have to go on a certain diet, then do it. But put aside at least like $25 a week, no matter where you live. You have to keep doing that because it gets you, at the very least, it gets you into the practice of doing it. And then over time, if something happened like 5 years later, 25 times 52 is what? I don't know. 25 times 50 is 2.5K. So if something happened in the next 5 years, at least you have that 10K to fall back on, and then you get to protect yourself. Then you have options, you know. So I would recommend that to anybody. Get yourself a living situation at the very least at every week. Put away $25. Pay it towards yourself, invest in your future self, and then keep it that way. No matter what. Don't go off spending too much money on it. Like how I did. $25 a week. Put it away to another savings. Let that savings grow. And, you know, in 5 years, you give them away putting in that savings, you know, it's going to build up more to more than what you actually put into it. Even if it's just like a base savings to where you're only making like point, I don't know, 0.03 in interest, it still adds up. So I would just say fuck it. Like you got to protect yourself out there. You know, the world is ruthless. It is, especially when it comes to money, because everyone's out there fending for themselves. You just gotta be smarter than them, or you gotta be smart enough to know what you want in life. So that's just how it be. But so putting away money is the best way. I wish I would have done that sooner, but I'm young enough to understand that you probably should. You know, despite whether you're building a 401k or not, just buckle down, do it. That's like $100 a month that you have to pay towards yourself. That's another bill, but it's a bill in the long run that you invest in yourself. So if you miraculously scathe off life with no harm, that's a lot of fucking money you just saved up for yourself. You know, so there's that. That's like at the least, there's that you can do. And these things can come pretty simple. Like say, oh, I feel like Subway today, or you can buy your own damn bread and make Subway at home. Not that hard. Not that hard. And I'm talking to you about that as a Californian. It is not that hard to just. I could probably make this at home. I could probably make a sandwich at home. Yeah, you'll probably only spend like $2-3 less as a Californian, but that's $2 or $3 more that can go into, you know, your future. So yeah, let's make things smaller. And some people, man, they think really big and they want to do all these things. I'm like, well, you can. I mean, if that's what you want, go for it. Fuck it, man. But if you're gonna stay here and try to get to here very slowly, if you like what you're doing, you know, start putting away money. No matter how small, no matter how minuscule it can be or seem to you, that's my advice. Start putting away money. Don't spend it. Put away this much. And if you have a decent living condition, $25 a week would not mean a damn thing. It would just mean something that, you know, that you have no longer access to. You got to build that savings account. Make sure you're all good and dandy. Because you got to think, once you're retired, once you're old, you don't want to work anymore, right? So, say you have that 401k built up, and say like in the future, it doesn't necessarily work out the way you thought it may have planned. Then you can say at least at least while I did this, you know? So it just makes sense. And for the love of God, and anyone in California or New York or in Rhode Island or in that, anywhere in that province, as well as California, stop buying fast food. Please, like, if you need to hit me up and ask me how to make a fucking fast food burger, I can teach you, and it'll be infinity times as better. Cost you a ton less. Trust me on that. Fast food is garbage. In fact, I had this one guy who I just recently added from high school. He and I used to do amateur wrestling together, and the year that was our senior year, we were the only two seniors that were wrestling, and he was built like a fucking truck, right? Like a truck, and I'm boasting him up about this because he was like in a regular ass fist fight. If it came to that, which he's not that kind of guy. Neither am I. He would whoop my ass, point blank. He was built. He just wasn't as technical as I was. And what I mean by technical is that he didn't know as many moves as I did. He just knew to go down, do a double leg takedown, swing people around. He knew how to do that. I knew that he already knew how to do that. And I knew that I can swindle my way out of that. And then there was this one day, this is really interesting to me because it's now coming back to me like slowly. We were both in the 152 and he was cutting lean. And I didn't actually have a gut at all. I just didn't have a six pack because I loved, I loved Powerade. That was my thing. I loved Powerade. And that was my only fatty food aside from like an occasional cafeteria burrito. But I loved Powerade. And he would always drink water. He would take protein shakes. He took care of his body. He just didn't have it in him to know as much. And that's not an insult to his intellect either. I was a smart cookie in high school. And we had this if you watch any kind of amateur wrestling, if you know what a scramble is, we had a scramble, and the scramble lasted for about a full minute. And this match was a first takedown kind of match. And we tested each other, and I remember just taking my stance and trying to understand what he was trying to go for. And hard to read because he just wanted to go in. He just wanted to fucking take my ass down and finish off, but he knew he couldn't do that because I was good at sprawling. What sprawling is that you take your legs back from behind you when someone tries to take you down. They go into that, and then you force yourself with your muscle right here, your tricep. You force it kind of down a little bit and punish them, and then swing around, and then get behind. And he knew damn well what I knew he was up to. It was more like a psychology game. So he was nervous. I think he went for it anyway, and I freaked out because I didn't think he was going to do that. So I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" So 45 minutes, we were just like swinging around, trying to get the best of each other. We put on a fucking clinic for like almost a minute, and he got gassed because he was so busy building on his muscle mass and trying to get as much strength as he could. He didn't focus on endurance when he was building up. And that was my thing. Like, endurance is number one key. I'm going to sweat my balls off and throw my guts out. And during every, practice endurance thing that we did, because that was the one thing that tested me most. Barely even past that because I didn't take any supplements like protein shake. I didn't drink enough water at the time. barely passed on that, and then I was finally I got behind his back and finally scored a point, and everyone who was in that wrestling gym, everyone stood up and clapped. So they were just like, "What the hell was that?" from everybody, And we looked up and we looked at each other, and we just shook hands, give each other a hug, and he raised my hand, and I was just like, "I really don't deserve this." He's like, "Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do." I'm like, "Okay." I just don't like taking you. We know, so uh, best time of my life was my senior year. So I knew how to wrestle. I knew how to do this and that, and we weren't the best out of all the years there. We were just the last two seniors. Um, so they expected one of us to be like one of the head coaches. We were not built for that. Um, I was more focused in diversing myself, and I've always had been for the majority of my life. To where I didn't want to just wrestle. I wanted to wrestle, and I wanted to focus on English and poetry. So that was me. Lyrics. I had other interests in my life that I wanted to explore. I didn't have that one track mind to where I'm gonna be a wrestler. So I always respected it. I always admired it. Had a lot of challenging times and fun times, especially challenging. You know, if you ever go to a gym and work out as an amateur wrestler, or go to a wrestling gym and work out as an amateur wrestler, those are fucking brutal, brutal. Because they don't test strength. They don't test. They don't test bulk. They test endurance. They test heart. And they'll keep pushing you until they think that you're not done, and they'll know. If you have a good coach, they'll know whether you're actually done or not. They'll look at you and say, "No, you can do more." Most of the time, after you feel winded and stuff. That's how dark. That's how fucking brutal it was. Because they always wanted to push, 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 push. It's making you better. Push, push, push. Luckily enough, when I went into the cooking industry, especially when I was a supervisor or a manager, that's kind of always how I took things. It's like if I see someone who I think is great and can take my lessons, I always say push, push, push. You're not done yet. You're not done yet. Don't worry about it. Push. You can get through this. So, in some aspect or another, uh, the wrestling industry or the amateur wrestling that I've had in high school always played a role in my life because I kind of learned that mentality. I also learned my own mentality from doing other things and hybrid myself so I can understand different people. So that's the story of that one. So yeah, I never really put that into words before. You know, uh, but yeah, I think that was my ultimate goal in life was just like understanding different people and trying to take a grasp at it. I think maybe that where my drinking came from because before all this, all my closer friends who were at that age, they're just like, "Oh, you drink all the time." At first, I was like, "No, I don't really care." And then once I got into it, I got obsessed with it, and then thankfully, that's all I did, really. But as of as a recent memory and as a recent thing so far, I'm just like, you know what, you know, getting drunk ain't so fun, you know. Like, yeah, I mean, you can have your parties and stuff like that, but you have to be able to kind of upholster that. So, uh, as long as you can create an environment that you pay for and keep a hold of and keep like around rules and stuff like that, I think it's all right. But you know, if you can't, then it can turn into a drug that's never going to take you back. So I think it has to be one of those things. Like say if I did buy that book, you know, with my brother's insurance money, I don't necessarily want that to happen to the point where people get haywire. I think what I would want is for friends to go out there, have a decent time, and be able to handle themselves like adults, if that makes sense. You know, like yeah, get a little faded, get this, get that, but it'd be one of those things like if I had the room, if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, you know, I think I'm in one of those moods to where I think I just want to spend the night. Do you have room for me?" Party happened. I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." But at the same time, like during the party, if someone got too plastered, I'd be like, "No, you gotta go home. I'll help you get home, but you gotta go home." But if someone came to me like in a sober state of mind and were like, "Yeah, I just feel like getting drunk," then I'd be like, "Okay, well, we can make a bed for you here." You know, say in a frat house. This is a well, kind of would be a frat house, I guess, but but it's not necessarily what everyone would think. You know, especially when I have a house that's over water. You don't want damage happening to that house. So you got to be very picky. I would have to be very picky on who joins and be very strict and be like, hey, so this is what's going to go down. Everyone stays chill, have as many drinks as you want. If I catch you, too fucked, we're calling you a cab on. And it's going to come out of your pocket. Just saying. I think that's fair to me. So, and you always get those from people like, oh, why you got to call me a cab on? Because it's my fucking place. Like this is my stove I gotta think about. This is my kitchen gotta think about, my living room, my 2 rooms, stuff like that. Yeah, it's because it's my place. So who are you to think that you should undermine me and thinking I should not protect this? That's just the way it goes. You know? All right, here you can. Let's do this one, stand up, and then let's go about it. What I mean by that is that I mean like I need to be a gentleman. You know, like I would give people like the benefit of the doubt and stuff. And but I've had many house parties before when I had my first apartment, and it was a long time ago. But I've been a part of many since then when it wasn't my place, but when it was at my place. I don't know who the fuck she is. Sent me a friend request. But when I had him in a place, it was the rule was it was okay, so it was 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. So there's bathrooms available to the 15 people who I invite. No one really had a bathroom issue with that, as I'm gonna say. So there was a line of maybe like 2 people at most. None of the issues were there. I think the main issue that I had was, hey, I rent this apartment. And this is what to one of my former bandmates. Hey, this is my apartment, and the rule is that you have to take your shoes off before you enter this part of the apartment. You can go into the apartment, but there's like this like little area that had tiles in it to take off your shoes, take off your jacket. It was built very thoughtful. So because like if it would rain, then you had a rain jacket on. You put off your rain jacket inside if you really need to. Whatever residue water would be completely cleaned up. No harm, no foul. But my thing was like it's raining, especially, but no, regardless, take off your raincoat. Closet's right there. Take off your boots or shoes or whatever you're wearing. There's a space you can put it right there. After that, you're free to go on the on the everywhere else where the carpet was. And most of the people who I hung out with at the time didn't understand that water residue fucks with the carpet a lot. You know, and they're like, "Why do I gotta take off my boots? It takes so long to take off." I'm like, "But you're in my house, and you knew this. Like we talked about this. Like you can't just stomping around all over your boots when it's raining outside all over my place. You had to take them off. Like I told you that before you came here, right? So, yeah, that them's the rules." And get scoffed at, but then understanding after we talked about it for a while, and like, okay, yeah, I understand, because essentially at that time, we wouldn't get our deposit back if they found residue, like carpet residue and stuff. So I explained that to him over and over. I'm like, we're gonna do our best to get our deposit back. That's just all it is. Okay. I just don't think I should have wore those boots. I'm like, no, you shouldn't. His boots, by the way, went up to his ankle, and he would have to take like a good minute to shake off his boots, and like he didn't want to feel, you know, however, to take off his boots. But like, I was just like, yeah, wear something else. You don't have to fucking show up here all fancy diddly. You're a friend. You're not showing up at a bar. So, have you guys ever seen the picture with? No, he wasn't even in the picture. But it's a representation of one of those nights. There's a picture of me on Instagram with the 2 Hornitos like horn cups or horn shot glasses that was on my head about 15 years ago. Yeah, no, 12 years ago. And I was practicing doing like layers of shots, messing with mixology and stuff like that because that's just who I was. And that was one of them. And the one that was behind me doing the thumbs up behind my head is still a friend of mine. The other one is he's just doing his own thing, so leaving that to be. But yeah, that's one of the parties we used to have. We just used to do like creative stuff, and his other the other guy who had to take his boots off, Josh, he would just I don't know, he was always pouty about something, so a little bit rough. I remember this one time we had a party at Francisco's place, and he was getting fed up with like the world and got sad because he was fucking up at a game of pool and went to the kitchen and he started crying, and I'm just like, why are you crying? Personally, I was just like, why the fuck would you cry about that? Because I'm affiliate everything. Oh no, like, dude, oh no, like not this shit. In my head, I was like, not this shit. Really, it it was something in my head that I knew like I had to be like vocally supportive. Like, hey, you know, these I didn't say these things happen, but now I do. Um, I kind of just spent on them like, no, man, it's just a game, you know. But I remember getting home to my woman at the time, and I remember telling her like, man, this he was such a bitch. Like, I got frustrated because he just like he disrupted everybody else's decent time, and because he decided to like to cry over it, and like he had everything going for him. He just didn't realize it at that point. And he's just, I just want to be famous. Just want this, I want that. I'm like, oh God, no. You know, like no, like that's in my mind. Like that is not going to happen. Not with this attitude. No, he did not necessarily have the rec deals going for him. And even at one point in time, he was like, "Can you be our bassist?" And like he knew. So the band that he wanted to do, it was like death metal stuff, right? Like doom metal, death metal, which calls for very fast, very kind of simplistic uh, bass lines. And he knew I did not like playing with the pick at all at the time. Now I can kind of do it, but back then I was more into like funk and progressive stuff like that. I couldn't do anything too progressive. I could do like, you know, pop punk, not pop punk. I'm sorry, like punk. Like I could do some corn. I could play some, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he wanted me to go from that to go to play something like like Behemoth. And I was like, I can't play with the pick. He was like, that's okay, just do the best you can. And I go, you want me to play Behemoth with finger tapping? You know they don't do that. Yeah, just do the best you can. It's fine. Oh my lord! And of course, I did the best I could. You know, like I forced myself to. It hurt like a motherfucker, and I told him like my hand was hurt. You know, I started shaking it after like a couple minutes. And then after the first song, it's like, you're doing really good. Don't worry about it. And I was like, this hurts, dude. I swear this fucking hurts. Is there another way? You know, like, is there any other way that we can maybe make it work? Because we were playing in the garage at the time. And he was like, no, no, you could just do it the way you know how to do it. But this hurts. And that's all I have to say. But, you know, because I'm used to doing like, you know, when I play the bass, I'm used to doing, you know, this. I use three instead of two, like most people do. I know how to do three. And and man, it fucking just ate the fuck out of me. And it was more like a challenge more than it was like a passion because the drummer far better than I ever was as a bass player. Like if you had to make the comparisons, he was decked out. I don't know what it is with those drummers, but in anti-CA, man, those drummers are badasses. If they had something to prove. I didn't necessarily like. I already had my career set in front of me. This is going to be like a side thing for me if I had to do anything. And the guitarist was just, which was the crybaby, and he was like, "Well, we gotta do this. We gotta do this." And I was just like, "Dude, unless you teach me how to play the pick, which I'm not mentally." Mentally back then, I didn't believe in using the pick on the bass guitar, but like after listening to Behemoth and seeing Behemoth live, who used a pick on their bass, I didn't see no point. I didn't see like the groove in me because when I was growing up in high school, my shit was Red Hot Chili Peppers. I loved Rush, and nothing used picks. I don't think Tool did. I think maybe Tool did, but I don't think so. But beyond that, it just wasn't my thing. Now I know how to, but back then it was just like, no, no, I can't do it. No, all right, I gotta use the restroom one other time. And then also, if you guys heard my the play of my best friends, and all three of them were very close to me at the time. Um, their music stuff, like instrumentally, it sounds great, but like if you listen to the lyrics, it's just like yeah, you know, they were going for something, but at that age and point in time, they weren't going for much that aged very well. I don't necessarily think they wanted that. So, but yeah. So last one. Okay. God, I've been there for over 2 hours. Jesus Christ. Kind of same thing as before, but I don't feel as stressed about it. Like I feel like my mind, after how much I've had, my mind is like slowly going back into like another thought process to where I'm emotionally projecting in the past. If that makes sense. To where I'm like looking at like, oh, you know, these are good times. These are good times, and then it really didn't necessarily have to do anything with my father. At one point, when I had that same apartment, my dad did stay at my apartment for about a month. But that I don't remember if it was free of charge, but I don't recall it being so. He stayed on my couch for a while, so that's just kind of his gig. But other than that, no, I think that probably is the basis of me remembering all those times in that apartment. It was a great place. I don't think it'd be as great if I stayed there for the next like 12 years. No, I don't know. You know, like if I still stay in that same apartment, I don't think, nah, there's no way. I'd get fucking tired of that place soon. As soon as dirt, you know. I was already tired of that place once I left. But it's one of those things, one of those memories, you know what I mean, that you think back and like, yeah, you know what, those times are fun. So a little bit challenging, a little bit tough, fun. I had a lot more fun paying for stuff at my friend's apartment that I moved into right afterwards when I went to work. And I was like, oh, hey, so I'm making all this money. What do you want to do with it? Pretty much. And it's just me and one of my best friends that I was hanging out with at a really nice apartment. He was like, you want to buy this food, you want to buy groceries, you want to buy this and that? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Everything else taken care of? Yeah. All right. Well, so what do you need done? You can clean everything here. That'd be great. Okay, I'll do that. Not necessarily being his bitch boy. It's more like his brain is very scattered. So I had to sort through his like magic cards and stuff like that. That's where I initially got into magic. And helped him out with that. I'm like, okay, so this is this, that, blah, 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 blah. Pick up this goes here, this goes here. Not necessarily being a maid, but he just wasn't in the right mind, in the right spot to do anything else. And we had other friends somewhere from his dad coming through, and I remember talking with his dad because I used to live with Sky and his dad in the next room, and he was like, "Hey, so what are you up to here?" I'm like, "Well, so this is what I'm doing. I'm paying for groceries. I'm cooking as much as I can so he can stay away from fast food, and he needs a friend." And he looked at me. He's like, "Okay, all right, I'm cool with that." He was paying for the whole apartment, to put it bluntly. And I was like, "Yeah, so I'm paying for food, making sure he's cool, and you know, this has cost me a bit here, a bit there, but I feel like because he's my friend, he's giving me a place to stay, and in return, I'm going to make sure he's fed." Uh, buying, you know, one of his places used to be called, or one of his places was Kinder's. He loved Kinder's back then. Kinder's now kind of, but back then, it was like a BLT upon heaven, in my opinion. But instead of bacon, you get, you know, good sliced beef. Back then, uh, you get when you order like a sub from a place like Kinder's, they stack the meat, you know, heavy in mayo. Made sure there's tomato on there and lettuce. So it'd be bacon, or it wouldn't be bacon, lettuce, tomato. It would be lettuce, mayo, tomato, and a slice of, or a portion of the kind of slice that you wanted. You get something that's called like a famous ball tip. Kinder's is a shit. It was a shit. I haven't had Kinder's in a while, but back then it was legit. And that's what we did. You know, I would stay at his place. You know, his dad would pay for like the majority of. No, he would pay the full rent. And he asked me, "Oh, you're gonna hang out with Chris? You gonna live with him for a while?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." And this is what I'm doing now. I'm working here. You know, and paying for this and this and this. And I feel like he needs someone to hang out with. And he looked at me because I know he comes out with money. And he's like, "So you're paying for food, fast food, you know, alcohol, and you're paying for what else?" And there was this one time when I was like, "Well," because the apartment was messy. It was very messy, and it was hard for me to keep up at that time because I was working full time. And and he said the AC wasn't working, and I looked up why the AC wouldn't be working, and lo and behold, they could have paid either. It's gonna say kind of sound silly. You could either pay for like a maintenance guy to come in and look at it and say, "Oh, it's because your AC filter is not filtered, like it's run out dry," or you can have someone that's living with you that has a half a brain to say, "Oh, this needs to be," you know. So what I did was I told him, "Look, dude, trust me." And he's like, "All right, man, I'll trust you. You can do whatever." I went to his AC unit and I untwisted everything, unscrewed everything, bucket to the brim. His filter was filled with like hairs and stuff like that, and I showed him like, "Look, dude, so this is all it is. It's full of dust. You get it out? Yes. We have to replace the filter. Don't have to. I don't think. But I can tell you here and now, and these are my words. Till here and now, because it's all cleaned up, your AC is going to work again. Set it back up. Reinstalled everything. Put the screws back up. Turn on the AC again. And within minutes, he was like, "Ken, fucking, I love you." Like, damn, man. It's like that's all it has to take, man. Like, just just let me know, you know. And he did. He let me know at first. Did the research, and to this day, man, and to this day, that best friend who's been friends with me since middle school has always stuck by me. You know, I even talked to him about what's going on with me, and he touched base with me about the movies that we watched before, and try to go back with that. Um, you know, so I've known that I've done a good job in my life. You know, so just the only thing for me to do is just keep going at it, keep doing good, keep your head straight, keep your head on a swivel. You know, as soon as your head falls off of that swivel, that means you're out of bounds. You're doing wrong, and you get your head back on that swivel. This is the last one, and I challenge everybody who's ever going to watch this, who's ever going to do that. Go to your friend's house. Go to anybody. Go to anyone that you know and ask them. You know, actually, not ask them at first. Hang out with them, and then she look at it and showcase what's going on, and ask them if they need any help with anything, and make sure you do that shit by hand. Make sure you know how to do that shit by hand. These mechanics, mechanics too. I'm not a mechanic myself, but these mechanics, these maintenance workers are making a shit ton of money. And I guarantee you, if you're working the same line that I worked, it ain't shit.
You know, you don't need to hire anybody. Just do that favor. If you know how to fix a home problem or an apartment problem yourself, and they show that to you, and you want to give a legitimate shot fixing it yourself instead of hiring somebody, do that. Swear to God, it is the most fulfilling thing that you can ever do in your life because first of all, you save your friend a couple $100. Second off, it's you build a connection there. Like, hey, I'm always going to be here. That's important. It's going to be very important. Don't fight with your friends. Don't fight with your family. It's always going to be there right away. Okay. That's all the message I got for that. Might be a few more after this, but I figured that the more I had today, the more that I was ever going to be able to speak. Sometimes the mind gets blocked a little bit. Sometimes it takes a couple beers to go back and rethink these things. Thank God that's all it takes. But it's all it really is. It's human kindness. Make sure that you take care of people who are around you. It doesn't matter how poorly you think they treat you, or in factual, it doesn't matter how terrible they treat you. To be honest with you, treat them with kindness and respect, and try to your best to understand where they're coming from. The worst thing you can do is turn your heart away from people like that because then it gets a little bit sour and become a little bit resentful. You don't want that. You don't. Trust me, I felt resentful for the past 3 days. And you want to be able to reach out. Even if it's something small, you know, not necessarily a death that I went through. Even if it's just something small, like, hey, I have a little bit of issues with my sprinkler if I have in a yard, or you know, a carbines thing. If you know these people, reach out to them and say, like, I'm having issues with this. Perhaps your finances aren't necessarily in check. If they're true friends, they'll stick with you. So, at least in my opinion. So, cheers to you guys. Cheers to everybody. And after this, I'll have my final thoughts, and essentially that's it. Cheers to friends. Cheers to family. Cheers to my receiving airline. Sure, why not? Everyone needs a little. Everyone needs to have a. I think when oh God. Oh, oh. up with last night. Think that in my world, like people would already know that. You know, like say if you have like a neighbor. Picture this. See, you have a neighbor that coexists with you. You know, you see all these cartoons. You even see like The Simpsons with Homer Simpson and Ned Flanders never seemingly get along and have completely different personalities. Um, that's kind of what people want, kind of, because it creates a little bit of a chaos theory within the elect where they keep themselves interested. But the perfect neighbor, in my opinion, would probably be I don't even want to say the yin to my yang because it'd be perfect if you know if I was a main gamer, but I knew how to do like gardening or uh, pavement or stuff like that. Or I don't know how to do pavement. I know how to do gardening a little bit. I can mow lawn. I can I can fix like electricity with enough research. Uh, depending on last time I did anything like that was like 15 years ago, but not much has necessarily changed from what my understanding is. But say that I didn't know how to do landscaping per se, or say I didn't know how to do I don't know getting solar panels or something like that. Having the perfect neighbor kind of be gentle and say, "Hey, you know what? I know how to do that. Let me help you out." And then we can go into do whatever, do some research about it, and then figure it out at that point. I think that would be the perfect neighbor. Kind of the yin to yang is kind of like knowing the exact opposite of what the neighbor would know. So you match up and kind of collide ideas because, especially California, this is all bullshit. So what I would say in this last mentioning of anything, this is gonna take a bit. Um, especially when it comes to you guys' families, considering how much happened. I would say this. Every person on this earth that I know of, and know a lot of people, and including myself, we go through dark times a lot. And this is me trying to dig down like really deep, really deep. I like to pride myself when I'm in public. A tough, a tough man that likes to laugh and try to show leadership into the point where I can make other people smile and make them feel comfortable in the place they work. And I've always been a worker. And I've had I've had a lot of people lost in my life. Um, as I mentioned before, once watched at a pretty young age. I watched one of my best friends who had to take oh no, it really is getting to me. I watch him take to the stand, not to the stand, but take to the totem to speak his obituary. I don't know what the word is. Had to say his piece. Um, he had to say his piece to goodbye to his father, and that was about 11 years ago. No, more than that. That's back in 2009. And watching him going on his pedestal, he wept. You know, he wept. He wept to be strong because he had me, and he had a couple other friends, and I didn't know what to say. You know, um, I just didn't know. Like I recall being there and kind of wanted to take a stand up there with him as well, and but I knew it was in my place. So I wanted to speak my heart to him because I cared about the guy because he told me that he was happy because someone cared about his son. And now it's different. Like I know once it comes to my father's funeral, I know what I have to say. I'm kind of afraid to say it out loud because I believe that should stay with any providence that uh, his funeral is held within. Deserves proper burial. It will not be recorded. It will not be anything that's what till after the deed is done. After the funeral happens, after the salvation life happens. I don't know what to say. So I have to keep it quiet on that. Because otherwise, if I try to speak up, it won't be my true feelings. It's just how it is. It doesn't matter how much I have to drink. It doesn't matter how much about that. It doesn't matter. It's just, it is what it is. So, I do know this though. And I do know to not speak anything negative. And I know that It doesn't serve anything. It's more of um, keeping the positive things that he did and the positive aspects that he had in his life. So nothing of pure truth will ever come out of that. You know, it's just something that's going to have to happen naturally. And I think it's the way he wants it to be. So, like a little bit of a grim ending, but thank you guys. So, we'll be all right. I'm gonna make it through this. I'm gonna make it through this, I should say. And stay strong, no matter what. That's what I have to tell myself. Stay strong. You got this. It's gonna be all right. Thank you.